Yeah. What? That was incredible. Oh my word.
Yo, friend, today is going to be an epic throwback episode of Left Coast Life, but it's for good reason. I can finally talk about and explain and share my experiences of shooting a real-life TV show. I'm going to share more footage of that rope jump stuff that I was just teasing you at the beginning. Now, I forgot to ever ask if I was allowed to name what the show actually was. So I'm going to err on the side of caution here and just not name it. But it's one of those reality shows where there's teams of people that are doing challenges and trying to accomplish a goal, and it's all a part of this big race. You know, it's really just an amazing show, to be honest. But maybe you've seen an episode or two in your time clicking through the channels.
I mean, so it really is just a beautiful day out here today. Just gorgeous.
Okay, so we're up here at the actual stunt spot. Down there's the whole rope swing thing. And they're gonna come down, swing out onto the platform in the middle, and then attach to ropes and jump, and they've got to grab something. They've got to grab this beaver that's got a clue for the next checkpoint, and then jump into this big swing because you have to like jump to grab the beaver. And how it came about is I get a call one day from my buddy Spencer. You might know him from a lot of the videos I've worked on in the past, in Untethered, in the Slack Life series, both free, incredible videos that you can watch down below. And so he calls me, he says, hey, we're doing a stunt for them and they're asking if I know someone that can do rope access camera work. You down? And of course I was down. I do this kind of stuff. I pay the expenses for myself to go film this stuff because I want to. But one of the big questions I had once I agreed to wear a harness and go down ropes and climb on cliff sides filming the show was, what camera am I actually going to use? Because I had this vision in my head of like reality TV shows where you're using this big ENG camera thing. And so I got on the phone with the camera department and we chatted through some options. And I vouched heavily for the GH5. Now, if you're new here, the GH5 is my workhorse of a camera. I use it for all my adventure doc shooting, and I vouched for it because it's got two things that are really important, I think. It's got 10-bit, which is a broadcast standard, so it's kind of required. And two, it also has an image stabilized sensor, which is really handy for handheld shooting, especially when you're on the side of a cliff and you're wanting to get some of those sweet shots. So yeah, I'm gonna rappel down the wall there actually to get a sweet shot, hopefully, of people jumping out. So this is my filming rig right here. Basically, I've got a V-mount powering the whole thing. This is my 90 watt. I've got a larger V-mount in there if I need it. But yeah, this is the full filming rig right here. Got a handle, some rails. This V-mount is powering everything. So I'm powering the camera with it and the monitor. Got the scratch track mic right there. Get some audio. It's a clean little setup, and I kind of just brace it against the body there, and you can see the monitor real well. That's the setup right there. Let's talk about some of the details of this setup. I'll explain some of my decision making and also some variations that you can do to apply to your specific scenario. And especially now that there's some new equipment available, I want to talk about some different ways that you can accomplish getting the best recording possible out of your cameras. In this case, I'm using the GH5. So my first recommendation was to shoot 4K 60 10-bit into the Shogun Inferno. Now that's a beast of a 4K image, especially in 4K 60, so you get the extra frames. But then the drives that I recommended were these super bomb-proof Angelbird drives. These things, I've abused these for the past year, and their read and write speeds are really dependable. They're also really robust drives, so I trust them in the field to stand up to adventure filmmaking abuse. But this was the first setup that I recommended, mainly because that's gonna get us the absolute best image possible out of the GH5 at the highest frame rate. That's usually my goal when I'm filming. And then when I was filming, the filters that I actually proposed to use were these Polar Pro quartz line filters. Even though they're not very ND, so you can't make them darker or brighter, if you get the right one onto your lens, it renders colors beautifully. So these have been my go-to filters when I want the best image quality possible out of my GH5. But some of you might be saying with the Shogun Inferno, hey, maybe that was a little bit big to be using on the side of a cliff. And that's a really cool thing where since filming that day on the TV show, the Ninja 5 has come out. And this now would probably be my go-to setup over the Inferno. Now the Inferno is a big, gorgeous 7-inch monitor, but I'm all about that lightweight, practical setup. So this is probably a little closer to what my setup would look like using the Ninja 5
and then using these bomb-proof Atom X drives from Angelbird as well, you can do the same 4K 60 10-bit out of the GH5 into this monitor. And this setup right here is such a joy to shoot with. I love having the top mounted monitor so that way I can brace the camera against my body like this, but still see my image. I'm a huge fan of this. And now I've actually done some paid video work for Atomos in the past, but again, their recording products are the best on the market that I've been able to get my hands on. So take that with a grain of salt, whatever that means to you. But the Ninja 5 to me is still my favorite on-camera recorder. So after some back and forth with the TV show, they actually ended up deciding that 4K 60 wasn't entirely necessary. What was more important was making sure that there was multiple copies of the media. And so the route that we ended up going was using 2 cards and recording 400 megabits per second internally in 10-bit inside the camera, just to fast SD cards. And my favorite cards for pulling this off are the AV Pro SDs from Angelbird. I just got in another pack of 2. I love these cards. I've got a bunch of them. They're super dependable. When you're recording in that super fast high bit rate, I've had some issues trying to do the backup and the main recording at the same time. In the high bitrate file sizes, sometimes it's laggy, sometimes it drops frames, sometimes it just says it can't record onto certain cards. And that to me is really frustrating. And these cards from Angelbird have been the most dependable that I've tested so far. Now you might be able to tell that I'm a big fan of Angelbird's media. I basically shifted over to all my capture format being on Angelbird just because I found they're really dependable and they make some of the nice, cleanest products on the market. And I'm not paid or sponsored by them whatsoever at all. They did, however, send me this sweet t-shirt and some pens, some sweet pens, and I'm a sucker for some pens. So if anything, send me your pens. So my setup performed fantastically. I ended up hanging out on the side of the wall for hours waiting for the racers to arrive. And when they got there, it was about a 3 to 4 hour period of just filming jump after jump. And you better believe your boy Levi was getting the bangers, the shots, the nugs, the epicness. I was getting it in the bag. I think like this swing right here is kind of gonna just be my sweet spot.
And that's a wrap on the day. Time to climb out of here. Woohoo!
Once we wrapped, there was still enough time for 2 members of the rigging team to do jumps of their own, and boy was it epic.
So good. What? You look great out there. Yoo-hoo!
Yeah, man.
Good day. Is it true that you're gonna go for a jump?
Yeah, first jump for myself.
So crazy to me that you didn't come with us to Hunland because you just like weren't here.
I wasn't in Vancouver yet. Well, I saw the videos that you were posting and I was like, I should move to Vancouver.
Those guys are up to something out there.
There's something nice going on over there.
How about that?
How about
Dude.
that?
Yeah.
Son.
What? This video is sponsored by Squarespace, and I've been using Squarespace for years. I first started using Squarespace when I was able to set up a better looking, better functioning website for myself in 15 minutes with their free trial than I was able to build custom on my own in 6 months prior. So I jumped in and I've been a paying customer ever since. And some of my favorite things about Squarespace is their templates are super beautiful and easy to use. And also it's responsive on mobile. So instead of tinkering around trying to make sure that things look great on phones, because a lot of people are browsing websites on their phones these days, it just looks great out of the box. There's never anything to update, so therefore there's never anything for me to accidentally break. So go to squarespace.com to start a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, make sure to use my link so that way you get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. What was the project today?
Show me your line.
Super Saiyan.
Today we sent 10 contestants off of a space net into a rope swing in a new area. It all went really well, so we're all just stoked. It was a great team, and yeah,
Heading down the mountain.
heading down.
After we shot this, we basically just waited months until we saw a trailer for the TV show. And then once the first episode, which our segment was in, we all got together and watched the show together, which was really cool to just have everyone in the same room, the athletes, the riggers, and just get to experience watching a show that everyone played such a key part in bringing it together. I'm not sure how many of my shots they actually ended up using, but I'm still pumped to have been a part of that. So I hope you enjoyed a little bit of a look into the tech. We've got more videos coming this week. I'm pretty pumped about it, and I'll catch you in the next ones. Remember, life's better when you make stuff. Peace.
Heading down.